Finding Nemo is a heartwarming and truly heartwarming adventure about a fish or a lost soul trying to find their belonging and find their home. Now, much like Nemo in the titular Finding Nemo, ELMT, ELMT Dragon, formerly Killswitch, have now moved to a different org, and that's potentially their true home, their true place. You are watching Crown Cup Esports Semi Final Challenger Division Season 3. I'm your caster Zeus, joined by Maxu. Maxu, how are we
What
feeling?
was that? well done, Zeus. Well done. I love that we recapped Finding Nemo. I think the movie has so much to say about like finding your own place and like fitting in or like accepting who you are. Also Dory just forgetting everything all the time. Let's see if these teams will forget why they're here and what they have to do. This is going to be a banger.
Now, of course, we have to mention if Element Dragon here are Nemo, then VA Callisto have to be the Sharks. And that's their opponents for this night, for the night in this best of five semi final. And VA Callisto, great team. Both these teams are so good. We are in for a great match. But VA Callisto are secretly evil, and they will eat all your fish eggs if you
Okay,
don't
okay.
defeat them here.
Well, maybe we're doing a bit too much here for not even
Nah.
having seen the players today or what they're playing. Maybe their compositions will actually turn out to be evil, but I don't think we can call them evil just yet. But they definitely have people and have shown potential that they do have what it takes to be brutal, to be evil, to disrupt and destroy teams that we've seen them play against before. And I've been always very impressed, and it's no surprise to me that they're in the semifinals today.
I mean, it's no surprise to me either. These teams are really good. VA Callisto doing quite well in the Swiss stage of this tournament, and then facing Killswitch, or what was Killswitch and is now Element Dragon in their first match, dropping down to the lower bracket and then completely sweeping it, completely wiping it, winning every match they faced there against uh, what Element Dragon, who have been riding pretty good, and then lost 3-1 against Wire Siege in the upper bracket semi-final. Have now dropped down to the lower bracket semi-final, and I'm pretty confident this is going to be a close match. I don't know which team is going to win, but I know that if they just keep swimming, they are going to be able to break through, and one of them is going to be able to persevere through this best of five tournament.
You can't help yourself with the references, can you? You can't
I
help
can't.
yourself. Yeah, no. We're too far gone. This tournament has lasted way too long. Our casters have officially gone
Oh,
insane.
we've gone off the deep end.
Okay. Well, I I guess we should maybe talk about some of the teams. Uh, let's talk about VA Callisto first. A very impressive team. Have gone, as you said, swept through all of the lower bracket. Incredibly impressive run. Yeah, we've seen these guys before. We've seen what they can do. Tifa, Hepsta, Daveo, Wellard, and Saiji, incredible players, have done so much, and they definitely deserve their spot here. Who of these players has impressed you the most so far?
Um, I mean, honestly, I I think their team coordination's the thing that impresses me most. They're
Fair,
they like
fair.
to run a lot of dive and they're good at it. That like running dive well is what makes a team awe-inspiring to me because it shows how well they can work together. If you can move like a well-oiled machine as a team, it's truly incredible. Now, looking a little bit closer at Element Dragon, I think that is a formidable team. Although their tank does seem to be a training bot. I don't know, somewhat fishy going on there. But what would you say this the best aspect of this team is?
I mean, I think I am your queen. Our resident training bot Maestro has done so well for this team every time that we've seen them before. Uh, this guy is just insane at basically everything he plays. But like especially we've seen whenever we've seen him on the Reinhardt. Unfortunately, the training bot is not playable in this tournament setting, but the Reinhardt is, and whenever we've seen him play the Reinhardt, he's been very very good on it, and it's basically been Elemental Dragons like signature comp is what they've looked the
Mhm.
best on.
Yeah.
It's what they're most comfortable on, and it's super impressive. I love a good Reinhardt. We talked about this the other day. I don't think we'll see much of a mirror here, to be honest.
No.
I think it will be a lot of Winston against Reinhardt. But I do want to highlight the Hitscan DPS player for VA Callisto Hepster. He has done incredibly well for himself throughout this entire tournament, and I'm really interested in how he's going to stack up against Venix today. That's always a incredible, interesting matchup to see. If they both play Sojourn in this map, I think we can probably throw up some stats throughout the middle, as long as our game provider does not screw us over again. Because it would be super interesting to have a look at how these players stack up against each other in those very important hit scan roles.
Mhm. And I I would love to focus on the players just a little bit more with their additional information they've offered to us. So Wellard for VA Callisto is old apparently. CG says meow, and Tifa says they
Yeah,
will
go
know,
ahead.
presumably in Irish. I pulled it into Google Translate. It is Irish. Then Element Dragon having one of my favorite anecdotes. Smells like bread. That's hat dust. Or has dust. Haster.
Hast du Durst?
Dust.
It's a
I can't
German name.
speak. Yeah. Uh, they smell like bread. And honestly, that's awesome.
Honestly, to a German, that's probably a compliment. I mean, we do love a good sourdough. There's nothing wrong with that. I think they should actually no, maybe a perfume is too much.
Now, looking at some of the other players, Vinix was jailed on Tracer for years and still washed on her. Um,
He's a hit scan player though.
I
It's
am your
fine. It's
queen
fine.
will dominate their competition with relative ease.
I'm
Uh,
pretty sure I've heard that before from a certain Matthew Super Delisi. I don't know that does seem. There do seem to be some parallels there, especially with the favorite character being Reinhardt. I think we've definitely found something there.
Swagrust is a competitive Rubik's Cube solver, which honestly astounding. I cannot get my head around one of those. I can solve one side and very occasionally two. Now, Aqua, finishing it off, spent a lot of money on Fortnite. And that you may be wondering, why are they playing Overwatch then? I don't know.
That happens though. Like sometimes
Yeah.
your credit card is just a little too loose. It happens to the best of us, but still a very formidable team. Don't get fooled by them losing to YS Siege. They have looked phenomenal throughout the rest of this tournament, both in the regular season and in the playoffs here. So I think we're strapped in for a really good series, potentially a map 5 banger.
100%. Sometimes your wallet just slips and you accidentally purchase all the skins in the shop. But
Yeah, I
I'm
mean
excited.
it
We
happens to
should
the
be
best
getting
of us,
into it
honestly.
in just a couple minutes. But if you want to watch any of this team beforehand, you can do so on the Crown Cup YouTube channel. Just search up Crown Cup on YouTube. It should be the first thing that pops up. And we have all the VODs from the entire 2 or 3 months this tournament's been going on to watch. And we have our first map choice of Busan on Control.
That's a rare
Honestly,
one.
a slightly less popular map choice here, but I do like it. The control maps in this game are probably the best. They're all really, really good and interesting whilst feeling distinct. So I'm excited to see what these teams can do here.
Yeah, definitely so. And me, well, I'll drop some Maxu lore on you guys. I have been studying Korean for some time, so I always love to see Busan on my screen, reading all of the little signs, realizing, oh my god, I should really study more. But that's such a cool map. I really love it. There's so much like fun stuff, and I love the way that the different stages are actually feel super different. Like Mecha Base is so dark and gloomy, but like enclosed and definitely favors those Rush Reinhardt kind of styles much more uh, than the other maps, I'd assume. But I'm really looking forward to how these teams can really stack up against each other. We're currently in ban phase. I will not spoil just yet what the first ban is that we have coming in, but the graphic should be coming up just right after both teams have decided. Obviously, there's a 1-2 ban system going on here.
Uh,
Super interesting. Yeah, I'll go as far as saying that Elemental banned Brig.
yeah. The bands here are really interesting because this is kind of a dive. This is a team that favors dive into a team which favors Braum, and so it's interesting to see what the players are actually going to do and what they're going to decide to ban here, because that kind of makes or breaks the match, right? Yesterday
Yeah,
in the challenger, wait no,
it was
in the
2 days
lower
ago.
division final, we saw that not a single support was banned because both teams wanted to run the same support backline. But here we're potentially going to see something quite different in how these teams play. The fact that they're different teams and the fact that they don't want to have the same playstyle as one another, which yesterday's match had a lot of. Neither team especially loved dive, and so we're fine playing fast brawl, which is still a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, especially like what you get to see a lot in these mirror compositions or like nearly mirror compositions. It's so fun to just compare how each player does, especially on their specific roles when they're playing the same characters, or like talking about and analyzing whether or not one character is actually better in this situation than the other. I know we talked a lot about the Sombra pick, for example. I think that was one very highly contested character pick that we've seen there in that division. But now we actually have both of the bands online. We have Elemental Dragons. Well, wait, give me a second.
Yeah.
We have Elemental Dragon with formerly Kill Switch with the Brigitte ban, and then VA Callisto banning out the Venture. Very interesting ban coming out from VA Callisto there, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Venture is really, really good. The amount they can displace people is genuinely, truly insane and wild. And so the threat of that character can be really strong and can be really daunting, um, especially in like pro play and stuff. Uh, then Brig's just a staple of a lot of dive comps and metas, and so banning her kind of limits what your opponents can do if they want to feed into that, if they want to manage at that and run that. But we are seeing these teams hop out of the spawn doors here with VC Callisto probably getting there sooner. They had that sim TP and already taking that advantage, taking that space. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to use it to their full extent though.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult for them, but I mean, oh my god, there's the Queen rushing into them already. I think we're already moving into a very fast-paced fight, very interesting matchup here.
Absolutely. Now we're going to see Sojourn just taking control of this high ground here. Now VC Callisto do have the point, but with enemies on all sides, I'm not sure how long they'll be able to hold it, especially if there's an early pick here for the side of Element Dragon. And Orisa is being forced out of that position, out of that hidey hole, and forced back. This is difficult for either team to hold space, especially when Hebster's able to get a kill like that onto that backline, and they are rolling through their opponents. Element Dragon do not stand a chance.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier as well. Venix versus Hepster on the hitscan mirror on the Sojourn. Very interesting. Hepster already gets 2 for himself on that first fight. Very impressive stuff. Now, there's not quite an ultimate online, but Tifa, they are really looking forward to getting that pulse bomb soon. Deveo also with his Terra Surge very soon, so I think they're very much chilling with what's coming up here next for this fight. Elemental Dragons, not so calm.
Yeah, no, with this Genji in the backline, it's very threatening, especially since I Am Your Queen is already very low and appears to be struggling here.
There's the
Oh,
stick.
the pulse bomb does stick onto them, but they managed to avoid most of the damage from it. Looking a little bit like a fish out of water here, drowning just a bit in the damage, is not able to sustain through it, and that is a collective 3k for VA Callisto.
Yeah, I mean, Maestro gets stuck there, but like immediately rushes and feels good for a second. But I think Tifa, they pick up 3 or 4 during that fight. Very impressive on the Tracer. And now the ultimate advantage, if VA Callisto knows it, they can play very quickly here. With Reals coming up here, Kitsune Rush is probably going to get mirrored here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But Hebster falls very quickly, and that is an absolutely insane rush from Element Dragon. They did use 2 ults there, but I mean, they won the fight for it, and their opponents haven't used any, which is really, really interesting. I think they're trying to stall on that ult economy here, which could make sense. They do only need to win 1 fight to take this point, but they did just make CG look like the they did just make CG probably need braces after hitting him in the face so much, like the girl from Finding Nemo. I'm really forcing these.
Yeah, good job. So I think what happened last fight there was that VA Callisto tried to just kite out the rush and re-engage after with their own rush. But Hebster going down that quickly just ruins that fight plan, and then it's like,
Guido
oh,
just get
what a
moved out of the
move!
way. The beat with the Kitsune rush. Now Overclock is charged. They're not using it yet, but they pop it here. Probably gonna slide around this corner, try find a kill. Does not slide, but does get one. Can they find a second? They do. Through the chaos, through the Orisa, and that is a retake for VA Callisto.
Yeah, Hebster again just too calm with it. Good re-engage by Welland with the Kitsune there as well, and they still have Tifa's pulse bomb for next fight. The only thing that Elemental Dragon has here is Venix Overclock, and they will have to go with it very soon to even contest this.
Yeah, now swapping to Winston, a little bit of a comfort. I'm not sure how useful it will be, but that is a ridiculous headshot. Able to knock them out of the enemy team, and Genji's just in that backline, absolutely messing them up, screwing with them, and they have died. That is a team kill. I did not think they were going to be able to cap that, but with 50 and 99, they might still be able to hold out and win this round.
Yeah, Elemental Dragons really showing up, really showing why they're also supposed to meet VA Callisto in this lower bracket semifinals. Haas almost has his blade online now. Very impressive stuff. And VA does not really have a good response to it. They might just have to kite it or just straight up lose the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, oh,
Phoenix is
early kill from Orisa there onto Sojourn with the Genji deflecting, trying
Genji
to back
well.
out, but Lucio manages to boop them with that kill. Now, this is not looking good for Element Dragon. It looks like they've lost it, and VA Callisto are likely to retake the point here, already doing so before they've even raped out all their opponents.
Yeah, Aqua used his Kitsune there, but it didn't really find any purchase, and Haas didn't even get to pull his blade there. This is tragic. Haas finally pulling the blade. 1v5. It really won't matter all that much. The monkey is jumping in. I am your queen, Maestro, but I don't see this going any way but VA Callisto's.
Yeah, especially without that Winston ult to stall, and even then, it's so risky. You're just holding what's already lost.
Yeah. Very, very contested there. I love the retake from Elemental Dragon, but VA Callisto, I think, rightfully win this round there. They do look like the slightly stronger team, but I think this map overall is still very much up for grabs.
Absolutely. We're seeing how windy and curvy this map is, how many just weird corridors there are to take advantage of, which does work very well for those closer range comps, those closer range teams. Being able to close that distance quick with something like Kiri Lucio Queen can be very, very strong indeed. But with an Orisa to hold the ground, it might just stop that onslaught anyway.
Yeah, VA Callisto used the Sim TP there of Tifa to get some early presence there, but it looks like Maestro is taking that space right back.
Absolutely, the Orisa trying to find an angle here, trying to hold their opponents down, but with Queen already low and choosing to push up even further off the back of that Suzu, they are going to be punished with that Javelin Spear, and that gives so much space to VA Callisto. Are they going to be able to use it properly? Are they going to be able to find those last 2 kills? And they absolutely do, even though Hepster falls off the map.
I think he might have actually just tried to drop to the point there. Deveo getting so much value with all of his cooldowns, both the spin and the javelin throw. Very impressive stuff there. Maestro is really struggling to actually like hold on to any space with the Queen there. Again, no ultimates online, but Tifa and Deveo, both of them are still are already on 70+%.
Yeah, Daveo having brilliant cooldown rotation here. Just able to use their abilities as and when they need to. Giving their opponents enough space that they overcommit and then punishing them for it so harshly. Now Tifa looking to farm ult here, potentially going to be able to get a bomb off, but I'm not sure if they're going to quite find the angle to do so.
Yeah, just a lot of great blink usage there from Tifa.
Ooh.
And Venix is dead again out of nowhere. Kind of a magical
Yeah.
pick there coming out from Deveo.
I mean, this Orisa, always able to get the first kill and always it ends the fights because of it. Never taking too much damage, playing really, really well.
This round feels so much more dominant from VA Callisto.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to be fair, it is the round, the map stage that lends itself much better to the Orisa than the Queen, in my opinion. But yeah, Elemental Dragons need to find some purchase here. Venix swapping over to the Tracer, trying to contest Tifa, who's been like a menace in Elemental Dragon's backline so far.
Kiriko here on the high ground, now pushing up onto this low ground. And the mirror with the beat as well from the side of VA Callisto. That is going to be a lot of damage, but this stick onto Queen as she ults does die in the end. And Swagger trying to counter beat now. That's going to give a lot of space, a lot of time for Element Dragon. I'm not sure if it's going to end up being enough though, as Queen manages to get a kill on the Lucio, being a little bit too aggressive with such little of that overhead flat.
Oh, there's the blade from Hust. This point is still up for grabs, but Elemental Dragons has to get this here. But there's the overclock from Hepster coming out. This might just be over.
It might, especially with so much damage coming out from that overclock. Just missing one of those last couple hits, but recovering health now, trying to hold it down, holding angles without taking too much damage. It's a risky business, it's a risky thing, but Hepster seems to be quite good at it. And the point, oh, Orisa does get stuck and killed from
Suzu's
it.
too late.
Venix doing so much there, able to farm that ult really, really quickly by just getting ship damage here and there, and then using it in order to capitalize by getting a kill. It's a really, really good playstyle if you can make it work. Ooh, Kiri almost dying, forcing out Suzu though. They will have that next fight, but still a good cooldown.
That fight was so incredibly messy. All of like people dying left, right, and center. But yeah, in the end, Elemental Dragons do come out the victor, but they don't really have any ults to engage with here. So they're just running into Tifa and Deveo's ultimates right there. This might be a very difficult fight for Element Dragon. I expect them to probably try and kite.
Absolutely, but with a Marissa who's able to CC like that, I'm not sure how much kiting you can do. The Suzu is missed, and I believe that might have just cost Callisto that fight there. That is rough.
Yeah, I agree that Callisto tries to go early there and like take advantage of their ultimate advantage, but it just doesn't work out there. Deveo goes too low too quickly, and now VA Callisto can re-engage with Beat and Kitsune, but it's going to be matched by Elemental Dragon.
Now Orisa being pulled out of position there, but is able to recover using the false flag. Now
what a knife.
into that backline, forcing out Beat as well. That's a lot of space for Element Dragon that they've used properly. VA Callisto being forced to touch did mess them over just a little bit there. Very aggressive Orisa here.
Yeah, very well played from Elemental Dragon there. Still like not overusing ultimates here. Their ultimate economy is still looking very good, and they might just secure themselves around here if they don't have a slip out right here. But I think it's very difficult for VA Callisto to re-engage this with just the pulse bomb.
Ooh, able to spear Queen away, trying to find space, trying to make it, but pushing through the low ground is generally quite a risky strategy. They did make it work there, and Wellwood able to get a kill, but that's a 3k on the back line as Orisa is forced to hold alone. Now it's just a Lucio. It's no longer just a Lucio. That is a team wipe for Element Dragon. It is 1-1 for this game so far.
Yeah, very impressive how much that swap from the Soldier into the Tracer did for Venix and Elemental Dragon there. Just contesting Tifa, like having Tifa contested in your backline, uncontested in your backline is just a recipe for disaster. But Venix just applying that bit more pressure onto Tifa, just slowing them down more and more, and Venix himself getting the purchase on via Callisto. Very well done, very impressive. However, I think Tracer is much more difficult to play on this stage. But both Tifa and Venix, they decide to just stick to the Tracer, I believe.
I mean, it is to an extent. Against comps like these, it's interesting. Element Dragon playing Tracer into that isn't that bad because the only person with real range is Kiriko, and they're already keeping track of like 8 things. Whereas fighting into VA Callisto, you do have that Kiriko, you do have that Orisa, and you have Hebster, a really good Sojourn, who's going to be applying a lot of pressure and really making your life difficult as that Tracer, because it's just going to be that bit harder to find angles, to find flanks. But they are trying them, working hard here, especially with this Lucio. A Lucio speed boosted Tracer is an interesting strategy, and it's not really paid off yet. Orisa does get low, but not quite low enough. They have that Fortify to recover, and they used all of it. Still falling though, just holding a bit too long.
Yeah, just standing out there a bit too long, and I think this is just the cleanup for Elemental Dragon. Looking very good now with both flankers, Genji and Tracer there. Pushing very deep, trying to chase that kill onto Wellard, I believe. But it's just not going to happen. Tifa is going to respawn, so Elemental Dragon reads that very well and just poaches up right in front of the choke point there. Yeah, VA Callisto is just rotating around, not trying to take that choke point. As Maestro engages
steal on Queen there. This Orisa is really aggro, and when it works so well. They make short work of these fights. It's unlike how a lot of Orisas play. They generally play quite defensive. Hefster literally on 1 health though. Oof, that was close to being an early death. Venix able to kill Tifa in that backline though. Devo able to kill Squadron. Now it's 4v4. The next kill or two really comes into play as to who wins this fight. But with everyone on VA Callisto dying, it's gonna end up going in Element Dragon's favor. Someone in chat did say they were just warming up, and I have to believe them.
Yeah, it's so incredible. Was it Vanix who said that they're still washed up on Tracer after learning her for so long? If it was, I'm just checking right now. Yeah, it was. They were wrong.
And the blade comes out into the backline. B is used to mirror, and Orisa able to get 2 kills with that javelin spin, countering an entire ult as well. This is going to be a quick push up onto the objective now, 82% and being retaken by VA Callisto.
Finally retaking this point after 87% going to Elemental Dragon. This will have to be a monstrous hold for VA Callisto. They do have ultimates to do it though. Hepster obviously with the overclock right there in his pocket, just waiting for them to come into the choke point there and looking to just take their heads off.
Now Genji trying to find an off angle, but ultimately gets blocked out by Hepster with that AoE effect. Now a lot of space being given to Element Dragon by VA Callisto here, trying to run away, trying to rescind it, but it's not going to work. Hatthirst able to get 2 kills off of the back of that Lucio build. Lucio ult. Now Tifa trying to find a kill, does manage to with just that melee before they recalled, but they're not winning a 1v4 even with such a good bomb.
Tifa, they did a great job of stalling out there, so there might be a recontest for VA Callisto, but Hepster goes down immediately. I don't know who can touch here.
Doom might be able to though, and he just about does. Is Doom able to find much more value than that though? And he absolutely is. I believe that's 1 death from that touch and that engage. A second coming in for the side of VA Callisto, though. Now, this is incredibly touch and go,
Oh, the
especially
Vader
with
gets
a
ulted.
Queen ult in play. That's gonna cut off healing for the tank entirely, and with the bleed mechanics off the back of it, it does force Davio to fall overall. Now, someone is touching somewhere for the side of VA Callisto on the top of the drum. It's not gonna last that long, though.
Wow, what a comeback, I might say, from Elemental Dragon. I mean, the first round felt somewhat competitive, but like I already said that Via Callisto looked like the better team on that round. But round two, round three was very impressive from Elemental Dragon. Very impressive. Just like coming back on round two and
Oh, damn!
basically holding the entire time in round three.
That
That
jump
was
play was
nasty.
absolutely insane. What a clutch Suzu.
Yeah, Aqua definitely putting the work in for his team right there, doing very well for the entire team. Maybe we can get a look at the tracer stats here because I think the swap from Venix on round one, from the Sojourn to the tracer, was a major part of what helped Elemental Dragon on securing this first map and going up 1-0 in the series.
Mhm. I mean, from a like pick and ban perspective as well, I I mean there we see it. Yeah, both got in 25 limbs and slightly more damage dealt by Phoenix. Very similar, but overall, to be fair, the final blows. That's what's important for a tracer. Uh, Sundaro did do a reasonable amount better, although died more for it. Definitely playing very aggro, engaging as much as possible, and kind of trading a lot because of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tifa still looked super good on the tracer, but I don't know. It's just so much more difficult to find enough purchase there.
Yeah.
Tifa did so much when they were uncontested, but just the moment that Venix swaps over, it's just so much more difficult to find that purchase, find that entry, and it's just impossible to carry your team, or maybe it's possible, but like it's just incredibly more difficult for Tifa to carry their team there if they're constantly being marred, if they're constantly being chased out, and yeah, I think the speed of the uh, Junker Queen Genji Tracer comp just was too much for VA Callisto to handle.
Absolutely. Now, be sure to stay tuned because that was only the first match in this best of five, and it could still go either way. We saw a strong push from VA Callisto on that first point, and it was quickly turned around by Dragon. But honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen next. It could truly go either way. We've seen it time and time again. Teams will start looking stronger, then something changes in the picks and the bans, something changes in how they're playing, and suddenly they start doing a lot worse, or their opponents do a lot better, and it completely turns the game on its head. Now, Hollywood has been the second choice for Hybrid, a very dive heavy map.
Yeah, we've seen both of the top maps being picked. So if the rest of this game will be Circuit Royale, Saravas, and Colosseo, that'd be a very interesting prediction. Let's see if that holds true. But yeah, Hollywood definitely a good dive map, especially on the second point there. So I do expect Via Callisto to finally bring out their signature Winston composition there. I wonder if we're actually going to see some Reinhardt out of Elemental Dragon too. But yeah, that's gonna be very interesting, very fun to see on this next map on Hollywood.
Absolutely. I also think it's important to note that Element Dragon had uh, that's Brigitte banned last match, and that's a key component of a lot of dive compositions, especially on Hollywood. On Hollywood defense, Brig is really strong, especially on first point, because you basically just have her stand in front of the Anna, and Anna can just pocket the tank from a mile away. So I'm curious to see if, with that free, we're going to see it ran by Element Dragon. Although, if VA Callisto want to target that support backline again, they could go for banning Anna.
I mean, that'd be very interesting, but maybe VA Callisto actually expect them to ban Anna and ban a support first. That'd be a very interesting like protect ban. They could ban something like Mercy or something, but I think there's still like so much more in what Elemental Dragon have shown us so far, with like especially well I don't think I can highlight anybody there. I think the entire comp that they played, everybody played such a crucial role to their success on that first map. So I think you could also make a case for banning out any of those characters. But yeah, it might be interesting to ban out one of the supports first, just to make sure that you can play your Ana break backline.
Absolutely. Now, it is important to note Wu Yang cannot be played by these teams. That is not available in this tournament. And so, when we're talking about strategy in the meta, we are not including Wu Yang because Wu Yang changes things heavily, especially for dive compositions.
Yeah, definitely. So, Wuyang has been played by just about any team at the top level so far. Especially, I was especially impressed by the OWCS Korea teams just picking up on it so
Yeah,
quickly and like doing so well on it. But then also in OWCSNA, just watching Ultraviolet on the Wuyang, just out damaging the entire lobby on this support character, just hitting every other water orb. It's insane what that character can do. But
it
since
is.
the tournament rule set excludes Wuyang, because I believe the tournament started before Wuyang was released,
Yes,
so
yes.
just to keep it fair for everybody, we decided to not have Wuyang be played, and I think it does give a very interesting perspective or like interesting framework for this tournament to just see how other really good teams like these are great players on both of these teams and in this entire division uh, approach the game if Wuyang is not available at all.
I mean, to be fair, Korea incorporating Muyang does not surprise me at all. They love dive over there, and they're good at it. But I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm excited to see how these teams play around these potential bans coming in now.
Should be coming up on your screens any second now. Because we have already seen them in our little preview here. Very
We're
interesting stuff
cheating.
right there.
Yeah, Genji, Anna, both very interesting choices. Kill Switch choosing to ban Anna there. Very surprising. They're generally quite a dive heavy team to my knowledge. But VA
No, it's
Callisto
the other way
also banning
around. VA
Genji.
Callisto is the dive
Ah,
team.
right. That's my mistake. I mean, Callisto banning Genji, that's also quite a strong dive character, but does work well in Brawl. And he was being played well last game by Dragon.
Yeah, Haas did so much on that Genji character, so I think that's a lot. That does a lot for them. But now Haas just switches over to the Venture that was banned first game as well. So probably just VA Callisto doing their homework on the opposing team, knowing that they do like to run the Venture as well. So well, they banned that out first. Now ban out the Genji second. And there we have it. VA Callisto playing their dive composition without a Ana here, which I think also makes a ton of sense. Lucio Kiriko is still a great backline for a dive composition. Hepster on his signature uh, Sojourn, and Elemental Dragon basically just matching it a part of the Venture instead of the Tracer here.
Now, it is important to note you can only park for an hour outside this hotel. Our observer made that extremely clear. Now, Hebster pushing it up with the Winston Mirror. I'm really interested in what's going to happen this game. Both these teams are the exact same, except for, oh my gosh, Fenix already getting a kill. Hebster also getting one. That is a quick trade with the Venture being taken out of that fight. That gives a lot of space for VA Callisto to work with.
Yeah, you can see the monkey and the Lucio just posing up, trying to take that high ground. And the leap is already being forced out of Maestro. But Deveo is also like looking strong in their backline, taking so much space away from them. This is the first tick available for VA Callisto.
Ooh, Pepster able to get a very good kill there in that 1v1. Now, Devio isn't doing the most damage. They did just get a kill, but they are threatening so much space here, and that's the sign of a great tank. They're not playing selfishly. They know that their role isn't necessarily to get the kills, it's to give an opportunity for their team to do so. Now, Hebster not pushing up too much, knowing their role, knowing that if they just hang back, the kills will come to them so long as they have good aim. But falling down to 70 HP is going to be a struggle. Now, almost capping first point, but VA Callisto does start to fall. I am your queen getting killed by CGI, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Yeah, this fight is literally for anybody to grab. But Hebster almost has his overclock here, and we know Hebster, he's probably just going to pop it right here, retake the fight.
I mean, if you're playing well, you do. Your opponents don't have ults yet, but they did just get Kiriko ult, and the Kiriko does come out. That's going to give a massive speed boost to that team, and they're able to burn them out of the sky. The Kiriko mirror is an interesting choice that I don't think it quite works, especially when the team's already dead.
Yeah, that was very well played by Wellard. I don't really agree with the Kitsune by Aqua there as well. Just a desperate try to recontest this point, but it doesn't work out for Elemental Dragons, and VA Callisto going into second point with over 4 minutes. That's an incredible time bank. Also, 4 ultimates still on the board for them. They should be very comfortable for this first part of the second point.
Absolutely. David's just holding the high ground here. A lot of teams identified this as the win condition on this second point, but I'm your queen able to get 2 kills from the back of their ultimate.
Maestro doing everything with the ult.
Another one on Devio. That is going to completely alter the win condition when the team just pushes up really, really early and gets punished because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do get rewarded for it. VA Callisto just takes that like time and just like loads up on more ultimates. There's the pulse bomb onto Maestro, and Davio kills the monkey as a result of it.
Hasta's looking to get a kill with ultimate here. Doesn't really find one. A little bit of wasted potential there, but trying to rotate back onto the objective here. Probably trying to displace their opponents, and it doesn't really work all that well. They might be able to rotate out, but Devia really building a lot of space for VA Callisto here to work with, and Hebster taking it, using it to their advantage, killing Venix out of the sky. Now, the high ground's mainly being fought over, but the point is still being pushed by VA Callisto. So, this fight being long doesn't really affect them so much as it does Element Dragon. Are they going to C9 here?
Surely not. No. There's 2 people contesting here. Listen, 3v2 on point, 3v3 now with the Raging Monkey as well. This is still for anybody up to grab. There's a beat coming out, so it should be Elemental Monkey winning this.
Count as that. A lot of potential lost there from that beat. Really, really smart play.
Yeah. So next fight, VA Callisto can engage fast with Beat or Kitsune. Really, like any of their choosing. Probably Kitsune first, from what I've seen so far. And also, even if Venix goes for the overclock there, Hebster is right there to match it. Hastudors is just waiting for the kill here on the high ground. Doesn't quite get it. Now his ability is already forced out, and this looks very promising for VA Callisto.
I mean, the Kitsune Rush does come out very early on alongside the beat countering that Winston dive. I don't think there's much Element Dragging to do here unless Venix get a brilliant ult, but that's not going to happen when they're already dead. Now, Winston trying to float onto the high ground, trying to find just an opportunity and angle to take, does not. 3 minutes on the clock, VA Callisto have taken second point.
Again, this reminds me a lot of Busan first round. Tifa uncontested on the Tracer, Venix on the Sojourn. I feel like Tifa is just getting away with so much value here, and there's not really anybody to contest them, and it's very like showing how Elemental Dragons look weaker when Venix is on the Sojourn and being matched by Hebster.
Yeah, Sojourn being topped by Element Dragon. Now, Lucio does end up falling in the end. I am your queen, managing to kill Devio, and Venix getting a nasty kill onto Lucio there just before they broke LOS.
Wow, yeah, that was a very, very convincing fight from Elemental Dragon, but it doesn't slow down VA Callisto too much, actually. They're already back on the payload, looking to re-engage here. Maybe just playing it slow, waiting for the Kitsune there.
Rush with that Lucio speed boost in. That's going to be a very, very fast team, but I don't think they're going to be fast enough for Pulse Bomb Dubs to come out and completely whiffs it. This is going to be difficult for Tifa to recover from. I'm not sure if VA Callisto are going to be able to push here as Element Dragon holds yet another fight.
Yeah, VA Callisto trades a Pulse Bomb for both the Kitsune and the Primal Rage there, so I think you're feeling alright as VA Callisto, but you only have less than 2 minutes to cap this third point, so you do have to eventually make a move. You can't kite forever.
Now, Excavation Initiation coming out from Hastas is going to find 3 kills from it. That is a 4th, but does die in the process. Again, brilliant hold. Using one ult to do so much is genuinely really impressive, showing why Venture was banned first game.
Yeah, definitely so. That ban coming in clutch for their first map there for Elemental Dragon.
Winston diving onto the backline here, potentially getting punished for it, but ultimately does just make a lot of space, does get punished in the end though. Devio really getting
Devio dying with Primal there, really not ideal for VA Callisto. Now down to less than 1 minute with 4 ults in the bank now. They've just been playing slowly, trying to kite, but it just has not been working. Tifa's hopping over to the Reaper now, probably just trying to counter Maestro on the Monkey here. Also decent into the Venture, but it might just be a little too late. Also because Tifa, obviously, they don't have their perks quite yet on the Reaper character.
Now, Winston jumping all the way around, then popping ultimate, I believe, just to defend. Oh, wait, no, that is the VO pushing very far up, forcing their opponents really far back. The beat does come out in the end. Now, Aqua popping off cooldown, as does Hebster. That's potentially a lot of damage. Isn't really going to be able to land a kill from it, though.
Yeah, Venture went to 1 HP there, but they do end up living. Maestro jumping into the headshot of Hebster there. This
And
might
Tifa
just open up the
swapping to
map for
Reaper.
VA Callisto.
Really, really interesting choice here. It's actually working quite well. Reaper suddenly becoming meta last patch has come into play several times, and against Winston, it is a good choice.
Overclock coming out from Phoenix.
Yeah, will they be able to kill Winston with it? And they absolutely will. Are they going to find much more value? No,
Hebster
they
gets
won't.
him again.
Suzu wasted
God
trying
damn.
to save them, and ultimately does an Excavation Initiation also. Oh no, never mind. Now,
Hebster getting
Bull's just
2
spinning
there.
around the objective.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be much. It'd be enough. Tifa takes them down, and like there's just 2 supporters on the point. But yeah, they're all cleaned up, and Phoenix is not even going to bother touching there. Yeah, Callisto do take all 3 points, but they don't have any time to spare. Actually going into overtime there, but that's just something that Elemental Dragon has to match first, because before they can even take them there, before they can even like try and contest what VA Callisto has done there. Hollywood is a very famous map for not being finished, so this is going to be very interesting. Do you think we will see any Reinhardt on this map from Elemental Dragon?
I don't, honestly. I think that Reinhardt can struggle quite a lot on this map because there's such an emphasis on vertical mobility, and against such quick teams, it's easy to get overwhelmed and CC'd into oblivion.
Yeah,
or
I
just
strongly
pressured and worked around. I'm not saying it's impossible to make it work. I just don't think it's very likely. I think it's very difficult. Doomfist swap from I Am Your Queen. I'm not sure if that's going to stick, but I kind of hope it does. Doomfist is a cinematic character. He is very fun, and he pairs very strongly with Venture.
Yeah, definitely so. Maestro on the Doomfist, I wonder what he can actually bring to the table for us here today. Vending swapping back over to the Sojourn, was considering the Tracer there for a second, but thinks better of it. And otherwise, this looks very similar as before, just with the Doomfist instead of the Monkey.
Yeah, Doomfist already pushing out here and kind of just taking space. It's given space, but space is space. Oh, but does die in the end. Just a little bit too ambitious, especially against a Tracer who's got such good aim. They're able to apply so much pressure. I bet they're glad they didn't stick on the Reaper.
Yeah, definitely so, but Tifa's still putting out so much damage on the Tracer. They can't really be stopped by playing Reaper or Tracer. It's all in their wheelhouse, really.
Now Hebster trying to find potential from this backline here. Tifa able to get a kill on
Master
Iron
did
Queen.
again.
Yeah, again. This is ridiculous.
Tifa must be just must be just putting clips over clips into the enemy tank there. It seems to be working out very well for them. There's not really anybody who's matching Tifa's ult charge here because they've just been the only one really doing a lot of damage.
I mean, Tifa putting all these players to sleep, giving them their final fantasy. Sorry, I couldn't.
Wrong collaboration. Wrong collaboration. It is Persona at the moment.
Hey, I'm not ruling it out yet. Ooh. But we are ruling Hasters out there.
Definitely
Now,
so.
This isn't rough. This isn't great. This is a little bit rough for Element Dragon here. VA Callisto managed to get all the way, but only just. Element Dragon having made almost zero progress here. Just trying to figure out what cracks there are on their opponents, and there really aren't any, but the swap to Queen might offer a little bit of redemption, a little bit of an opportunity for progress, especially when Aqua's getting a kill onto Hemster, their primary source of ranged damage, and that is a 3k for Element Dragon overall, and Winston's just kind of trapped in the corner here.
Yeah, Aqua has impressed me a lot this series already. A little bit of shit talk coming out there from Maestro, but that happens to the best of us. I think Aqua is just way too accurate with those kunai, doing very well for himself, and there's not even going to be a touch coming through for VA Callisto. Also, 4 minutes on the clock for the second point. However, I do think the venture is a little more difficult to play with this upwards trajectory of the entire second point. If VA Callisto play this smartly, I think they can just stay out of range of the venture for a lot of this time.
Absolutely, especially as they have the ult economy advantage, they can react to stuff, but they can't react like that if they're just gonna die. Now Hasters, oh wait, a full rotate from Element Dragon on the low ground here, identifying that their opponents are on the high ground and just saying, nah, we're not gonna fight you there.
Yeah, very well rotated, and really just ending the fight before it even started. Not really risking an ult fight there for Elemental Dragon. Very well played, very smart.
I mean, ultimately it did force their opponents off, and they've now taken the high ground. They're not touching the point though, they're trying to play this slow, they're trying to play this tactical, and if they can win from it, it will be worth it, but if not, they'll have wasted a lot of their already limited time.
Yeah, recall forced out early for Tifa there, so I think Elemental Dragon realized that and tried to push in, but it's countered by Willard's Kitsune there. So I think Elemental Dragon is just kiting it out and waiting to win this fight, but it doesn't work if VA Callisto has just this many ults throughout the fight. And if Hapster is this accurate, it just doesn't matter.
No, absolutely not. Not when they're getting 3 or 4Ks, but CG doing quite well as well. Like, the ability for Alicia to just go in and start booping and meleeing and comboing opponents cannot be understated. I've watched a lot of Frogger. Now, the rotate onto the point from Tracer there. Interesting choice, quite quick with it, and it really forces their opponents to make a decision about where they fight, especially when I'm Your Queen is able to get a kill like that onto Hebster. Tifa does get a kill onto Phoenix, and already getting a second though. I'm not sure if it was worth the peel onto the objective with that split push.
Yeah, very smart. I think VA Callisto almost recognized that Elemental Dragon was close to the Queen ult there, and kind of positioned Hipster up on the high ground as a bait there, and just taking that trade and collapsing on the exposed backline of Elemental Dragon as soon as the Queen ult goes through. Very well played, and still 2 ultimates in the bank for VA Callisto. Only the beat online for Elemental Dragon. It's really tough to just like, do you invest a beat aggressively and have nothing to counter with? Yes, you do.
Ooh, yes, they absolutely do. I'm not sure if that's going to pay off, though, especially when Winston has his ult in exchange and is able to get a very early kill onto Aqua, a second from Wellard onto Hasters. I think this is a 1 fight for VA Callisto already.
Yeah, it has to be, right? And now, this is what I was talking about. Now we're only getting close to a pulse bomb of Venix for Elemental Dragon. And VA Callisto have the Kitsune rush and are close to the overclock of Hepster again. it's just so difficult to push into this. If VA Callisto just play this smartly, just cycle their ultimates well, I think this is a very easy map for VA Callisto.
Ooh, Tracer trying to find an angle here, trying to find some damage. Is going to do reasonably well. Is going to find a little and able to pressure Lucio into a corner. Is not able to follow up though. Is forced to use recall. But they're
God,
still
it's
holding.
so
Their
early.
opponents haven't made much progress overall. And the Kitsune rush is popped here. Isn't going to end up doing much. These teams are positioned weirdly, but it's defending the attackers more than the defenders. Wait, the defenders more than the attackers overall.
It's just tragic for Aqua to die first on the Kiriko there. And now with the stagger picks, it's a 5v3 for VA Callisto. This would be a miracle for Elemental Dragon to win.
I mean, there's no overtime holding here. With 4 of them on point, there's nothing you can do. There's no way to counter that. CG getting 2 kills at the end. VA Callisto have won 1 and lost 1. That is a 1-to-1 fish v sharks.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
I'm really not sure where this is gonna go. Element Dragon did make quite a dominant push those last 2 points of that first fight, but VA Callisto showing that they came to play this second one, making such a strong hold and a pretty good push, especially on a map where teams very rarely make it all the way, showing they can go the distance, and they are just gonna keep swimming.
They are indeed just going to keep swimming and putting the opposing team in a little plastic bag and carrying them around, shaking them around, just as they please to finally win this map. We're up 1-1. Stay tuned for the rest of the series. This is going to be super exciting. There was like a lot to talk about there, but the thing I want to highlight the most is it looks like Elemental Dragon can just not quite match up to VA Callisto on those Winston slash Doomfist comps there. It's just too difficult for them because that's really VA Callisto's wheelhouse. I'm wondering what map and what bands we get next, because this could really change up the way that this plays, right?
Absolutely. Now, looking at that last match, I would really like to see the Lucio info mirror here, because one team definitely had, in my opinion, better Lucio than the other. They were always in the fight. They were always getting kills, and they were always finding potential and value. And I want to see if that's true. I want to see if that's confirmed by the stats.
Well, especially Lucio can get so much more impact even if you don't see it in the stats, but you do see it.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
god.
I mean, that's both matches so far together, but 6 final blows per 10 minutes compared to 2, that is ridiculous. And still having extremely similar amounts of healing, but that's honestly astounding. Showing the power of an aggressive Lucio there and the effect they have on the game overall. CG4, VA Callisto really showing how it's done. And honestly, probably a big reason why they're winning.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering right now, did Saiji play something else, like a different character on Busan? But I think it was Lucio all the way through, right?
I think it was too. I
Yeah.
just I think there's that little bit more coordination and that little bit more pressure from VA Callisto. Element Dragon have tried to play aggressive comps here, especially with Orisa. Playing aggressive Orisa is interesting, and Lucio can help to benefit that, but I didn't quite see the team coordination there to make it work. But VA Callisto, like doing things like getting Lucio to pocket a tracer, playing like a Wu Yang would in the current meta. Really interesting choice, but it's working. And that's potentially the more shocking thing.
Yeah, definitely especially in those higher elo teams, you do see a lot of those 3-2 splits where you just have the tracer play with the Lucio, and it's just such a more potent dive if the tracer and Lucio work together, and just split your team apart there, and the Tracer does so much damage, and like Tracer's already very fast, but sped around by the Lucio is just incredible to see. Also, my prediction still holds true. Escort map is Circuit Royale is the very top map. Suravasa is going to be the next map, I promise you.
Are we cursed? We were doing this the other day. We just predicted every map that was chosen. I think you were doing it again. But Circuit Royale, really, really interesting. Both maps so far have been very brawl or very dive focused. And here we're seeing the complete antithesis to that. The slowest map in the game. Potentially going to see some poke, or potentially going to see dive tried being forced to work. Now, the ban on Sim does restrict what a lot of teams can do on this map specifically. Sim TPs, especially with the perk that gives 50% range on it, are very strong. And the Orisa ban, also on this map, I love that ban because Orisa's really, really threatening. She's able to constantly provide pressure and damage and restricts enemy movement so much.
Yeah, I believe that was actually just last patch with the
It was.
50%
It was.
range increase perk, which is a good thing, but it doesn't change up
Yeah.
any of what you said really, because like it's still like a very viable comp. Like a lot of teams still play the Symmetra, and I wouldn't be surprised to see teams play the Symmetra on this map as well. So yeah, I think it's a smart ban coming out from VA Callisto, but Elemental Dragon banning out Orisa, I think is very interesting because it's like, of course, VA Callisto played it earlier, but they played it on the map that they lost. So it's very interesting for me to see that team specifically banning out the Orisa. And there it is, finally Maestro playing the Reinhardt, his character.
You finally got your wish, and it is the biggest fish in the game. Reinhardt, £500 of German steel coming out of the gate here, trying to find value, trying to find an opportunity, but Hemster's the one who takes it. And the main
It's just nasty.
That is an interesting choice. Not into Hemster's Sojourn though. It's not very interesting to them. They just want to dismiss it.
I mean, I don't even think there's much any other character could have done there. If the enemy Sojourn just hits their shots better than like you hit your swings or your icicles or whatever, the game is just done for. And Hemster shows that right there.
I mean,
Very
you
impressive
counter it
first
by
fight for
getting a
them.
widow to jump rope, then 360 no scope them, right?
Yeah, well, if there's one player to do it, it's probably Venix.
Yeah. Now, charging beam off of that wall, interesting strategy, probably quite useful here, probably quite good. And the rotate, that is a clever slide. VA Callisto giving a lot of space here, but they know how to hold it, they know when to re-engage, when to re-push, and with such a slow comp here, swapping Lucio
Early window.
onto, oh damn, that is an early window. And they didn't find much value from it, they just held slightly further up.
Yeah, but just taking away that
Callisto
space.
going to be able to retake here, and they do touch with the blade in that backline as well from Tifa. Does get countered ultimately, but the Deadeye is the thing that kills them in the end, popping their head off.
Yeah, very impressive fight from Venix there. Picking up 2 or 3. There we go. For himself on that fight. Only Hepsa remaining for VA Callisto. This looks like a done deal. First point captured for Elemental Dragon. And it's basically what I've said before. Elemental Dragon looks so good on their Reinhardt comms. They're just so practiced on it. And I think the Mei does make sense with it as well. It's just the walls splitting off people from their supports and just being able to just isolate them, shoot them, whatever. Especially against the D.Va, looks very good. Great offensive beat as well.
Now, Element Dragon really, really pushing up here, popping 3 ults for that fight and absolutely rocking their opponents with them. This is how you play Reinhardt. This is extremely reminiscent of the Overwatch meta. Like a year or 2 ago, but they make it work. It's clearly a comp that they played then and remember still. A lot of these characters are still hard meta, but like the Baptiste and the Reinhardt, not really. But if you can make off-meta picks work, it's really, really terrifying to your opponents. It forces them onto things like Ramatra and Reinhardt, threatening any distance their opponent takes by being able to charge them out of it. Now, the Maywolf potentially coming out here, trying to wall them off, is able to with the...
Wow.
Oh, the freeze comes out as well. That's going to be so much space taken for Elemental Dragon.
Yeah, very impressive fight from them. Hepster does get a kill on the end in the end there, but I don't
Genji.
know if it's going to be enough there. 2 meters left for Elemental Dragons to claim, and it's just going to be cleanup work for them here. They roll into third point with almost 4.5 minutes.
Now, VA Callisto panicking a little here. They've changed their comp several times. I'm not entirely sure they know what to do. I don't think Iliari is the choice here. I know she can be very good for stalling on this map, which benefits the defending team, but it's just not quite working when your opponents are playing so fast and constantly applying so much pressure. In a comp that should theoretically not work that great on this map.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, especially with the Rhino just blocking so much of the Lars damage. I wonder how the ult fight is gonna go here though. Via Callisto going first, but there's nobody hit.
The whiff of that ultimate might have cost them this fight here, and all of Bap's kit does come out, and it is able to be used properly, able to take that, and I'm not sure if it's going to be taking much more though, as ultimately Venix dies as well from the hazard block.
Yeah, this is like the first point since Via Callisto on first point that Via Callisto has actually put on like a fight, put on a defense. And well, now it's just a game of holding Elemental Dragons on their best compositions for 3 minutes on third point there. That's very that's a tough ask, but I don't know. This is what a semi-final is for, right? Yeah. So Via Callisto only having the nano boost on the Ana there with the hazard ult coming up as well.
The nano does come out, but the ult to block it, trying to force them, doesn't quite. That was a brilliant nano here. Elemental Dragon, I was about to praise them for their ult economy, but with wasting a shatter like that, it's not really worth it. They do still have 2 ults here, and Devio only has it's the only one with it. But I think that if they can use that properly, they can stop their opponents from taking any space. They can restrict Cassidy from finding an angle, and they've already popped that ultimate into the backline, forcing out B early. And the anti-nade was massive, finding 4 of them, I believe, and enabling a kill. Now Genji, Tifa just trying to find in the backline, trying to rotate through their opponents as much as physically possible.
Yeah, very well played by VA Callisto, really understanding their kill boxes very well, and it shows that they have great ult tracking as well. Probably one of the supports, either Wellard or Saiji, just great on the ult tracking, understanding what ults they have and what ults they're against. Yeah, great fight planning overall. Good game sense.
Now Reinhardt pushing up here, trying to retake corners, trying to hold angles with a very far back Iliari pylon. I'm not sure if they're going to find much value, especially when that Deadeye comes out and gets a kill onto Hebster.
That's both DPS ults used though for Elemental Dragon, and now is the turn for Via Callisto.
Ariel comes out, able to find 1 kill, enables a second. Oh no, that was just never mind.
That's fine. I think Via Callisto is stabilizing here, but this fight is definitely not over yet.
Now the Blade coming out, finding 1 kill. Will they find a second, or will they get killed? Tifa ultimately getting killed in the aftermath. The Shatter coming out though, able to confirm a kill. And now it's just down to Sojourn ult to hold. But with the Maywall in the way, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find much value from it.
I'm pretty sure Rella just nano-jacks. That's really tough. They probably tried to save their tank there, but it just doesn't go through in the end. Beat also is way too late to save to save Maestro there. So I think this is just Elemental Dragons retreating and looking to take one last fight with a window. But it's definitely like much closer than the first and second point here. Just 20 more seconds to go.
I mean, VA Callisto have cracked it on this last point. Hazard into. Ooh. Now the tanks fighting in one corridor. Very interesting. Now the window of opportunity coming out. That is a strong window that blocks off so much space from their opponents. And Amiel Queen getting a kill onto the Vio. Now they're going to be able to push up almost uncontested without
Tifa
a
gets a kill.
tank to soak up all the damage. It's going to be difficult for VA Callisto to have a focus here. But with the Doomfist swap, they might just have it. Oh, the mutual stun there. And already recharging that punch now. Oh, nice kill from Tifa. Tifa is looking low, but is confident in their abilities. And that is a hold from Elemental Dragon, I believe.
No, from Via Callisto, that is.
Yeah.
Via
Yeah.
Callisto really finding into their own on that third point. And exactly what you said earlier as well. Tifa just staying so calm under pressure, still hitting their shots. Very impressive stuff there. However, this is also not a super easy map to complete. So Elemental Dragons are not really too scared if they believe in their abilities at all, which they probably should, since they're literally in our semifinals. So yeah, this is a tough ask from VA Callisto, but they're not quite out of it quite yet.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is interesting because VA Callisto were doing awfully until the last point, and they cracked it. They figured out what they needed to be doing, how they needed to be playing, and suddenly they started doing extremely well. Will they be able to continue that pressure forward? Are we going to see any comp changes, or are we just going to see Elemental Dragon walk by the kiosk?
There might be some compositional changes coming here, but Elemental Dragon look very similar as before, right? I think this is what they had.
Elemental Dragon, yeah. VA Callisto, very different composition. Potentially toying with Juno. Brig ultimately deciding on the Baptiste Brig. An interesting composition with no speed character. It can start to struggle just a little bit. Hebster looking for an early kill on Widowmaker, doesn't find it. Tifa also potentially swapping to counter their opponents. And the Pharaoh coming out.
No way, they're going for the Mercy as well. Saji's also going to
Are they
spawn.
going for Pharmacy?
No, it's Ilari. It's Ilari.
To be fair,
I was gonna say.
Pharmacy's kind of dead in the water right now. Like, it can work, but it's not really the most optimal thing.
Yeah, especially against Venix and Aqua, who are all, like, both of them are very accurate. Also, Hast is no slouch on the Mei either. Like, those icicles can be very deadly to a Pharah. But Tifa thinks that they can do it, and, well, I would love to see it. I would love to see VA Callisto put up a fight here. Maybe push to second or third even, and make this a very fun series for us to watch.
Hebster doing really well to deny space here from their opponents. Just shooting and spraying and praying into that backline, but honestly, it's working. It's working really, really well. Now, Reinhardt holding here, trying to find an opportunity, trying to find an angle, and Farah over the top, overhead, shooting down onto their opponents quite well. Ooh, Hebster managing to get a kill onto Venix here, and this is a little bit of a stalemate, but a slight push from VA Callisto in the end.
Yeah, VA Callisto looking pretty good here, but the winner is coming out, which could be what turns this fight around, but they do have to get a kill very soon if it is. Haas is very close to getting a kill here, but it just does not come through. And now Elemental Dragon are in such a pinch. This is going to be very difficult for them to retake.
The wall coming out here, blocking off Hazard, potentially damaging him, but Tifa just in that room. The grounded Farah able to do so much, and with Hebster's ult as well, it's a wash.
Yeah, it's just both of the DPS ults forcing the point open. Very impressive stuff there for VA Callisto, but I'm not sure how well it's going to work for the next couple of fights. They do still have the double support ult for VA Callisto there, so I think they are looking pretty decent. But I think Tifa's Pharah gets more and more difficult on this second, more open point here.
Ooh, the early kill onto Tifa. Bennett swapping to Freya. Honestly, a really, really good choice here, and it is showing off. Almost team kill there overall for the side of Elemental Dragon, but choosing to stagger CG in the end, that is rough. Wait,
yeah.
Oh my god, is Reinhardt trying to be sneaky?
I love a sneaky Reinhardt shatter. It's a classic. It's a classic. Hepster on the absolute signature soldier coming out here. That's going to be very fun. Not the character that you usually see in the meta, but if it works, it might be very beautiful. Oh no, they spotted him.
Spotted him. They've identified where he is. They had to take that angle slowly though, because they did not know where he was, and they knew he was probably waiting for a pin or a shatter. Now the Aerial does come out into that backline, able to get a kill onto Aqua. Now Hepster getting their own. Venix finding one as well, as most players are dead in the lobby. This is a 2v2 now. DPS versus tank and support. I think this goes to
it's
the
just a
tank
stalemate.
and support, but it just depends who can get there first.
Oh, the tracking is clean on Hepster.
Ooh, that was...
He just knows what he's doing with that rifle on soldier. Deveo looking for a good fight with his ultimate here, going for it very early there.
Ooh,
And
the
catching
grounding of
more than one, I believe.
isn't capitalized on though. Not quite seeing the opportunity there, and oof, they do overpeak.
Clean
They
from
do
Wellard.
peak and overcommit though.
Yeah, but I think this is just Elemental Dragon finishing this fight off. Overall, pretty clean, pretty well done. Tifa on the Sojourn here, close to their overclock. The Stagger is coming out onto Wellard. He does get a kill onto Aqua though, which is very impressive. This might be the go condition, go signal for VA Callisto if they're so inclined, but it might just not be. I think it's just too close of a respawn timing. Tifa is probably just going to look to overclock very early, but Swigert got the beat to just counter that out.
Yeah, 1 minute 30 left on the clock. I'm not sure if VA Callisto are going to be able to push to the end of this point. This is the hardest point to push in this section. Actually, no. The first point is the hardest part to push. They've made it through the difficult bit. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it much further, though. Elemental Dragon really showing what they're about. Flying through the enemy team, spreading their wings, and breathing their fire.
Yeah, Elemental Dragon just like using their ultimates first, just being quicker to press the Q button. It's also kind of like VA Callisto doesn't really get themselves into a position quick enough to really use anything. It's kind of difficult to use ultimates in bad positions. Obviously, you don't want to risk wasting them, but you do have to try something at some point. They do have basically 4 ultimates coming up here, but they're also playing into another 4, so it's not really paying off for VA Callisto here.
Phoenix looking low though, and the double ult coming out just gives them space. Their Elemental Dragon know they have to retreat from that, and they can stall them out. It just gives them the ult coming advantage. CG and Hepster both having ult here and using them to stall. Oh, the just about dodging of the hammer down there from Hepster. That's going to be big.
Yeah, I believe the Shadow found nobody there, so this will be VA Callisto actually making it through third point. Very like this might be winnable for VA Callisto if they pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but it's just 1 minute 30. And they're still running into this this bola shot by Venix, who has been so deadly already. But as I'm saying that, Hepster already gets his first kill on third point onto Swagrid.
Now, it is interesting that you bring up the timer, because that last fight was only 1.5 minutes in the end. So if Elemental Dragon can win the 1 here, they might just be able to hold it out for the rest of the game.
Oh, what a rocket!
Nice, that was a nice helix rocket.
Hepster might just
Are they
look
able
for
to
both
kill
of the supports here.
Both supports here.
Hepster really taking this game into his own hands here. He's just so deep into their space, but like, if I know somebody who doesn't care about that, it's probably Hepster. He's just like so confident, so happy to play on this high ground. He also has his pylon here now. Like, he's really not all that threatened by just one Mei up there. There's the Freya coming to contest him as well. But the fight is happening on main now.
Ooh, there's a kill. Devi trying to Devio trying to find an opportunity, trying to find a kill. Hepster ultimately being the one to get it though, with a 2k in the backline, and Wellard finding another. VA Callisto have done it. They've made it all the way. That is 2-1, and we are going into match point next game.
Yeah, what a third point. That was incredible. these teams are actually very evenly matched. This was very fun to watch so far. But yeah, as we see the play of the game, Wellard is definitely one of the players to highlight, to watch for. Like he's been putting out so much work silently, and like even in the kill feed sometimes, very very well done on the flex support there. Just getting so much value out of their ability traits. Very impressive stuff, and probably a deserved map win. However, very close one at that.
Mhm. Absolutely. I don't know what to think about this. These teams are both playing really well, and I don't think there is a standout character from VA Callisto. They're all playing so well. They're all fitting their roles exactly how they need to, and they're locking in just the right amount here.
Yeah, it looked like they wouldn't even push through second point, but well, they just throw ultimates at the wall, and they seem to have stuck. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it just happens that they play faster. Hapster on the high ground just basically solo killing both of the supports there, opens up like three-quarters of the third point for VA Callisto there, and it just makes it so much easier for them to just roll through most of this third point, and then the last fight again, Hepster is just playing on high ground alone and fighting two people, but is he's just amplified. He's just allowed to do that because he has the pylon with him up there. So it's just a 1v2, but like it's one that he's comfortable taking. So the rest of the team is fighting a 4v3 on point, and well, that's just a losing game for Elemental Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, next map is Flashpoint. And if our prediction is anything to go by, which has historically proven to be so, we should be seeing Saravasa here, which
That'd be
is
hilarious.
arguably the best Flashpoint map anyway. So I'm excited to see if that does turn out in the wash and what becomes of the next game here. Because so far that was a little bit terrifying from um, Via Callisto.
Yeah, they're threatening to just straight up throw Elemental Dragons out of this tournament, ruin their chances basically, and well, either way, Elemental Dragons or Via Callisto, the loser of this match respectively, is definitely our third place here. I believe. I don't think there's a third
Uh,
place match.
Yeah, I believe so because the upper bracket was Elemental Dragon, who have now dropped down, and
Yeah,
we've done it again. It's Surabasa. That is
of course it is. Of course
ridiculous.
it is. These teams are just too predictable, too boring. Just picking the top map
So
all the
dumb.
time. It's just too easy to prepare for these teams. Honestly, we should probably make a team. Well, let's not go into that because we would definitely be so lost against these players. Uh, be that a 2v5 or a 5v5, I think we just straight up lose the video
It
game.
would look the same. But if anyone wants us to predict your future in chat, just let us know because we can guarantee it will be watching some awesome Overwatch gameplay.
Oh my, what a segue. That's impressive. Yeah, the map has already been picked, and we're currently working on the bans here. So we should be getting into those right quick. Do you have any predictions for what VA Callisto might ban here?
Um, I'm not sure. I think that coming into this, they might look at banning someone like Lucio because Elemental Dragon have been using them quite a lot, but VA Callisto are also very, very good with them. I think it's gonna end up being a tank target ban or some kind of DPS ban for like the hit scan role in particular because that's threatening them quite a lot. I can't be certain though. I think this is very up in the air, and anything they do opens and closes doors.
Yeah, definitely. So very very interesting stuff that we're seeing here for them. Uh, however, I think if they were to ban a tank via Callisto, that is, they would probably just ban out the Reinhardt, right? Because like it's just a character that via Callisto is not very comfortable playing. But I don't know. I think it was just kind of a trick question asking you what VA Callisto would ban because they just looked so comfortable basically
Yeah,
uh so far. So I think they're not really scared of whatever Elemental Dragon could ban for them.
I mean, I understand your Reinhardt point, but I think he struggles quite a lot on Surafasa. You need to be able to rotate fast, and Reinhardt really only has one engagement tool, so the odds of him doing much with it are generally quite low. Now, if anyone does want to watch the VODs of these games, you can go to Crown Cup on YouTube to find them all. But we have the hero bans here. Winston has been banned by Elemental Dragon. Interesting choice. Very counter dive. Very trying to stop their opponents from having constant rotations and being able to be in a lot of places. Now, VA Callisto banning Tracer. Interesting choice here. She is able to output a lot of damage and kills and formerly Kill Switch, now Elemental Dragon, have been using her a lot.
Well, both teams have actually, I think. But I think that Venix has looked very good on the Tracer, and especially like threatened Tifa a lot. But we've seen that Tifa can very well swap over to the Genji last map, or even the Sojourn if needed. So I think they're not really scared to ban the Tracer here. And banning the Winston for Elemental Dragon, I think, makes so much sense as well, because that is basically what VA Callisto is the most comfortable play, but they're not scared to play the Orisa or the Hazard either.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I'm not entirely sure. This is a weird fight. Both teams choosing to control one side of the point, meeting in the middle instead of what normally happens where they just clash on it. Now, an early push from Elemental Dragon has given them a lot of space. It's going to be difficult for VA Callisto to retake it, but potentially just looking for a Sojourn pick to be able to push up. But with their opponents pushing up even further, seeing that, hey, we can just rotate with our cooldowns for Lucio and Queen yet again. Why wouldn't you? Ooh, the Genji deflect into the Genji deflect. Not quite working out for Elemental VA Callisto getting 2 kills there on the DPS. That is going to restrict their damage output significantly. And, I mean, I'm your Queen's just looking at this backline, trying to find an opportunity, trying to find a kill, but only 2 deaths there. They've mitigated the loss of that fight significantly.
Well, the loss of the fight has been mitigated, but not the loss of the objective points, right?
No.
There's 65% and counting. Like this is VA Callisto have to make their presence known on this point ASAP. But it's so difficult if their Veo just eats every single rail shot from Venix.
Absolutely. Now we're looking at the first couple ults here. Aqua already using one, and Orisa also doing so, not quite finding a kill from it. The Kiriko on the point here. Interesting choice. I don't think it's going to end up doing much. I think that was a little bit of wasted potential.
Yeah, it just seems to look like the ban on the Winston has done more damage to VA Callisto than the ban on the Tracer has done to Elemental Dragon, right? Because Venix is very happy to play the Sojourn, and Hazard is very good on the Genji. It's to the point that he's been banned out before, right? So this is going to be a very interesting fight. VA Callisto having 2 ultimates here, basically 3 with the Blade coming up, but Elemental Dragon is also looking at basically 4 ultimates here. So this might be a very close fight. It just depends on who presses the Q button first, I guess.
I mean, I'm pretty sure these teams are waiting for Suzu to be used, and that is going to be their win condition. But with the beat mirror, that's potentially just going to make space for Elemental Dragon to work with here. Now pushing it in with this Queen ult potentially, but not if the point's being held like this. Not if they're just going to be forced to retreat.
Yeah, it's just a
Suzu's used and TP. Wow. Kiri is hanging but does not die.
Tifa on 30 HP for so long, but they do tend to live. No, they are antied. This is Maestro just killing Tifa outright.
Yeah, absolutely. But Kiriko does eventually fall after getting another ability rotation.
Yeah, forcing those Kiriko ults out is very important to like actually ending up getting that kill in the end. But it's something that seems to come very natural to Elemental Dragon here. they do have both DPS ults ready to go. Same thing goes for VA Callisto, so it's like a very even fight here. But still, VA Callisto has to push into Elemental Dragon space, which tends to be very difficult here. I wonder who's gonna like open up with an ultimate first here. It might be Hepzer. It is not Hepzer.
No, absolutely. Aqua able to get a kill onto Tifa here, and the ult coming out from Benix, trying to find potential, trying to find a kill. Doesn't! They get killed by Hemster in the off angle when they were not looking. That is rough. Hemster looking low themselves though, is able to be healed by Kiriko in the end though. Are they going to be able to find another opportunity? And they certainly won't. Forcing out the Suzu and the Lucio just running in with Hast to Dust and screwing over their opponents. Elemental Dragon have captured a second point and are looking favourable to win flashpoints here. That's, if they do so, that'll put the score at 2-2, and we will be going into a final game.
Definitely so. I think it's a valiant effort of the hitscan of VA Callisto there to go for the overclock, but it's just not enough. They do get one kill there, but it's just not enough to pull their team over the line. And it's what results in Davio actually like swapping over to the ball here. Very interesting swap. Tifa picks one up for themselves very quickly here.
Now, this just looks like Queen's Hangman. Yeah, she just sacrificed herself.
I mean, happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
The fight was basically over anyways. So yeah, VA Callisto, after the swaps coming through, and like using ultimates in that losing fight last time, they don't really have anything here. But Elemental Dragon are looking to have 3 ultimates for this next fight. The VA is swinging over the top of Elemental Dragon. I wonder if they're gonna go for a fast play here.
Ooh, trying to forcing out the Queen Shout, and I believe Lucio heal boost. Now, without an amp it up, that's going to give Hast to Dust a lot of space to work with, and they will take it, they will use it, and they will get a kill. Kiriko climbing up above them, using that TP, doesn't find much from it though.
Yeah, just a good fight from Elemental Dragon. There wasn't really any ultimates used in that fight except for the blade by Hasadorst. But yeah, just overall, reading that fight very well, blading at the correct moment, and getting another kill into ward.
The quick push now with that Reaper swap as well. That's going to be a lot of potential damage, a lot of potential value, which they're able to find. Bennett's getting a 2k, proving why that's such a good plan, such a good strategy, because it threatens balls so much. He has to avoid it, and it just lets them push the front line even harder.
Yeah, Maestro looking to set up for a early rampage there, but thinks better of it. And this is just VA Callisto trying to find angles around Elemental Dragon, trying to find some entrance. But they're just gonna speed back onto them with the Kitsune there.
Again, they're just cloning themselves every fight, and it's working so frequently. They're able to get kills so consistently, and the ball ult does come out here now, slightly nerfed. It lasts slightly longer, but that's not going to matter anyway. Everyone's already moved past it, and Tifa jumping off the map.
That's tragic.
Genji the past 3 days to do so.
That's tragic, but this fight might still be winnable with Haps's overclock. But he's gonna have to come up with something magical here, but it's just not quite there. It's only Weller trying to touch the point here, and this was a very dominant map from Elemental Dragon, and I'm pretty sure we're going to a map 5. This was obviously coming. Just look at the tournament tree basically. That was very impressive. A lot of trash talk back in the chat right there. Happens during heightened emotions, I guess. So yeah, this is also going to be a 5 map banger with Hasadorst on the highlight, the play of the game. It's probably going to be on second point there, yeah.
I am your queen, getting a little bit toxic in chat there. Just getting a little overconfident. I know you're doing well, but it's still 2-2. You are by no means winning, and we just wasted 2 hours.
Yeah, this could have.
I'm joking.
This could have been a best of 1, exactly.
It does come down to this final game between these 2 teams. Every win feels like it's been relatively dominant, like, or favoring one side. So for this to end up being a final is strange. It's generally quite surprising. And I think a lot of this comes down to the strategic play of what comps are you choosing and what maps and bans are you choosing, because that's what is determining the outcome of a lot of these games, I believe. But of course, the teams can't choose it. It's always going to be the top one.
Exactly. So I don't quite remember what the next one would be then. I'd have to go back there. However, there's just two main movies featuring Nemo. It's obviously Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, but this is going to be 5 maps of Finding Overwatch, finding our second Crown Cup Season 3 finalists here for the Challenger Division. Very impressive stuff right there. Really looking forward to what we're going to see next out of these maps.
Oh
And
no!
it was so close. It
Damn
was so
it!
close.
Honestly, I don't want to see Callisto anyway. I'm fine with it.
It was so close. Well, we're still 4 or 5, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Esperanza, pretty fun map. It's pretty interesting. I think that a lot of teams like to play it weirdly, and dive is especially strong on here, which is Callisto's favored playstyle. There's so many angles and ways to take ground in this that trying to prepare to react to every single method can be so daunting and so difficult. If you're against something like a Winston or even a Diva, and the Winston ban's already come out, I think we're going to see a Winston play from VA Callisto here.
Yeah, you have to imagine so, right? And I think we probably can just predict the entire composition at this point, right? Callisto is probably going to roll out on their standard Winston, Sojourn, Tracer, and then Lucio Kiriko. That's
Yeah.
what I expect for VA Callisto. For Elemental Dragon, I'm not quite sure. They might go back to their signature Rhine composition, but they did actually lose the map that they played it on. So I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to play the Junker Queen again.
I mean, I think that in their tank's wheelhouse is quite a lot of
Oh,
choices. Junker Queen clearly not being played. That is the ban from VA Callisto, and Kill Switch banning Tracer this time. Interesting choice. I think. Oh, not Kill Switch. Elemental Dragon banning Tracer this time. I think that that's an interesting choice. That's generally who they like to play, but they might be looking to focus on Venture instead, because that's really, really good at anti dive and able to manipulate your opponent's positioning so harshly that it's quite a strong character just because of that. So if they can make use of Venture here, they could win.
well, potentially, but like we've only really seen the Venture out of Hasudurst, who's also like otherwise been playing a lot of the Genji there. So I think for Elemental Dragon, it's probably just going to be Sojin Genji. No, it's not going to be Sojin Genji. It's going to be Reaper Genji. Probably expecting the Winston here, but Daveo not falling for that trap, just swapping over right to the Hazard.
Yeah, interesting hazard mirror here. I didn't expect this, but I feel like I should have. It makes a lot of sense. It's a good character, especially on this map. He can hold space and take it, and has so much vertical mobility, which is important, especially on the center part. And that's the biggest place on this map where fights will occur. It's where teams really fight for control, and it ultimately decides the match more than the ends do.
Yeah, definitely. The ends just always seem to be kind of clear cut, but yeah, what is also clear cut is this fight from Elemental Dragon, just cleaning up what is basically the entire team of VA Callisto there. Very impressive stuff. Not really any ultimates to speak of quite yet, but there's definitely a lot of bot push coming out from Elemental Dragon here.
Reaper walking when he's squat is always so funny to me, but that's the choice that might make or break this. I think Reaper, it limits what you can do at range, but it's a character that's so strong.
I'm not getting 2 headshot kills.
But when you've got Wellard, it does not matter. Well, able to get 2 kills really early on in that fight. An insane Kiriko play there.
Yeah, Weller's picking 3 up for himself there.
Wow.
Aqua also responding with another headshot kill. Both of the Kiriko players have been absolutely outstanding for their respective teams there. Great stuff to see, and critically, Elemental Dragons do not get the checkpoint there. So the Callisto are definitely not out of this game yet. Still not really a lot of ultimates to speak of. Only really the downpour coming out from Maestro soon.
Now, I'm expecting... Oh, damn, Hebster getting an early kill. Showing why having that little bit of range from a Sojourn is so useful and so strong here. Now, the retake from the high ground from Elemental Dragon is interesting. I think they waited just a little bit too long, and I don't think they're quite going to see the value from it they want to. But Tifa does end up dying to the enemy Genji overall, and...
Well, let's seize the fight as winnable, though.
The retake of the objective, now trying to push up
What
onto
a
the
beat.
point, and the beat comes out! That is big, that is risky. So much of Elemental Dragon's ult economy has been used here. VA Callisto could lose this and still be in a favourable position to win overall. Except they're gonna hit the checkpoint.
Well, checkpoint is definitely gone, but I agree with what you said otherwise. Like, that was a very old-intensive fight for Elemental Dragon, and really only the Kitsune used for well out there on via Callisto. So this should be like if they play with like good ult economy in mind here, via Callisto should be able to win this with just like 1 or 2 ults, and then still have plenty to spare for the next fight on the other side of the map.
Now, Genji deflection here. Ooh, with the blade as well. Not being able to
Too
find
much
the kill.
support.
Does force out Suzu. Is low on health, but is ultimately not going to die. The Reaper still sticking to it. Still trying to find damage and an opportunity to kill that Hazard. Does not quite get it. But with VA Callisto having 3 ults and their opponents only having 1, I think they've got this in the bag. I think they have an opportunity to do a lot here, especially from Hazard. Oh, and the beat to counter the blade with a nice ult from Sojourn.
Yeah, the overclock and B getting layered there, but it's actually pretty fine for VA Callisto because of the blade coming out as well. VA Callisto still is sitting pretty on their downpour, but Maestro has another one in the bank basically. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Kirikos are actually on the same amount of ult charge basically here. So yeah, not really an advantage there. I wonder if Venix goes for an early Blossom to force out stuff, or if he just waits out for cooldowns to be used for first. But this is the checkpoint already for VA Callisto.
Yeah, they've not quite retaken the point though, or taken all the space there. And this point is the most important part of this map. This is where it becomes truly insanely difficult to take more space, and so a lot of teams will give up there. But if you're able to just hold that little bit more, that couple of centimeters, it really doesn't matter. And when that is such a gnarly match, such a gnarly fight, I think 4 ults were used on between the 2 teams, maybe 6, and
wow, another ultimate coming out right there.
Through the chaos, VA has done it. Oh my god, the blade!
That's just
the most
unnecessary.
unnecessary blade ever.
Well, we're saying that. Well, okay, no, it probably was.
But
I think I have VA Callisto.
Get 2 kills overall.
Yeah, I think it actually played out better than we thought. VA Callisto actually regaining the lead here after 5 minutes of game time. So like half of this map is already done. But yeah, VA Callisto really looking to press forward here and just getting as much meterage as they can without using any ultimates, I'd assume.
Yeah. Fennec on Elemental Dragon, now swapping to Freya. Interesting choice. When they did it last time, it forced out a weird pick from Callisto, and Swagrid doing quite a lot there. God, that name is so cringe.
I think it's actually pretty funny. However, this is this is Elemental Dragon just pushing back against VA Callisto and trying to just reclaim the space and trying to like get some picks out of here. And Venix does on the Freya. Very impressive hitscan player here. Saiji going down, and this really hurts VA Callisto's chances of really like disengaging here without the speed boost.
Now, Elemental Dragon are close to touching. I think that if they win this fight, they might be able to overtake their opponents, but it's touch and go. Oh my god, it's no longer touch and go! Hasta's charging in! They're economizing these kills between them all. And that was a strong retake. These teams are so close. I have never seen a push match quite like this, where the teams just keep going back and forth. No one's quite making as much progress as they'd like to, because every time they get to a certain point, they just lose again.
Yeah, a lot of ults being used here already, but the meterage is already gained for Elemental Dragon, and they also use the blade here. Countered with the
beat here to counter the blade in that backline, and Hastadust looking extremely low, trying to 1v1 this Lucio and will not in the end. Tifa also falling. I am your queen, trying to find an angle, trying to find an opportunity and spot for it. Also using it, and Phoenix dead on the floor.
3 people are respawning for VA Callisto, but it's just not going to be enough. Elemental Dragon do win out the fight eventually, and now it's getting really dicey for VA Callisto. There's only 2 minutes 20 left on the clock, and it's really only the overclock for Hepster on VA Callisto's side. Well, Elemental Dragon don't really have anything to play with here, but they don't mind just giving up some meterage here, because they can just stall out fights for the ult economy's sake. They're sitting pretty nicely on their meterage here.
Now, I'm interested what's going to happen here. I don't think either team really has a strong footing. Elemental Dragon, of course, have the slight advantage, but with 1 minute 40 on the clock, this truly every fight determines the outcome here. And if Elemental Dragon lose a single one, I don't think they'll be able to do much. Oh, wait, no. If Callisto's lose a single one, I don't think they'll be able to do much. And provably, they're losing.
Yeah, very aggressive beat coming out from Swaggart as well. Just trying to like ensure even more meterage, ensure the forward positioning here. That's the overclock coming out from Hepster though.
Yeah, Hepster's overclock potentially finding a lot of value. Doesn't though. Elemental Dragon knowing that they can just concede space and they'll be fine. And now with the Winston Primal in that backline, really messing everything up, but not doing much more than that. They made space but died for it, and you don't want to die for space.
Yeah. VA Callisto does end up winning this fight, but they do have to invest a Kiriko ult basically in their spawn, which is like they would have loved to have that tool as an offensive like asset to their attack onto the side of Elemental Dragon. But however, this will just not be a part of their toolkit right now. So they have to basically push in deep with beat here and hope that they can just like win this fight and win the next one with the upcoming VP assaults of Tifa.
I'm not sure if this is recoverable from VA Callisto. Never say never. But it's gonna be an up.
That's a great kill.
Yeah, that is big. VA Callisto have just pushed up significantly. I just ate my words. I didn't think they'll be able to make it very far. They have one last fight to push here, and Elemental Dragon have one last fight to hold. We are in overtime. If they step off the point for even a second, they've lost it. But is anyone going to touch? Oh my gosh, last second touch with the Death Storm from Tifa coming out. Die, and no one does except Tifa trying to block their opponents off the point.
Hepsa gets 2 though.
Only a couple players alive for VA Callisto. This is a 3v3 on the objective, and it is truly so close. Kiriko is
Everybody's
one
so low on Elemental Dragon.
Oh my god, it's a 1v1 on the point.
it.
Kiriko beat for it. This is what it comes down to.
Well, does it? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Well,
just clutched up.
They've done it. They die at the end, but they've done it. VA Callisto have won by the skin of their teeth.
That was
They're
insane.
in the final.
Wella just dragging his team over the line, and Hepster getting the play of the game. What a match! That was absolutely incredible.
That's insane. I mean, the match chat truly went wild. Everyone was just so confused. Wow. I am on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It really came down to the last two players, like one from each team. That was incredible to see. Super fun, great match to cast, and I congratulate VA Callisto heavily on making it to the grand finals of their division. Great stuff from them, but also thank you so much to formerly Killswitch, now Elemental Dragon, for participating in this Crown Cup and doing incredibly well, almost making it all the way to the finals. Definitely a super deserved third spot.
Yeah, I'm astounded. I mean, we can see the overall stats here. VO Callisto did have a slight advantage overall. They were playing slightly better overall, but
But it's
you look
not
at the
that
final
much.
score, the final game, it was literally a matter of who could aim better. Every shot mattered, and I think when it comes to who was the MVP there for VA Callisto, I have to go with the Kiriko player just for that ending play, just for that ending shot.
Yeah, I agree. Weller doing so much there,
Yeah,
just dragging his team over the edge, and well, just having an incredible game throughout the entire like series. But so many highlights, especially on that last map. That was incredible. Especially also, I remember that fight where he just pulled out two headshot kills out of nowhere on on their side of the map, clutching
yeah.
it twice actually, I believe, just for their team. Incredible stuff right there. 73 eliminations, 3.4 final blows per 10 minutes, and that is on a support character. Not just the Kiriko, but also the Yana doing great stuff there. Yeah,
Mhm.
very well
Yeah.
deserved. Great
The
healing numbers as well,
I mean, the
and still
healing
putting
backline
up
of the
good
team,
damage.
really, everything was revolving around Weller. That is the key player and win condition for both teams to an extent. To an extent, of course. But I'm gonna need a cold shower after this.
Yeah, I
I
don't think we're gonna
could not
stream
have
that
thought of
part
a better ending.
of. Yeah, I think we're not gonna stream the shower part of the evening. I think we've all had enough to watch already and have to calm our senses by ourselves. But that was some insane Overwatch. Great highlights, great moments. This was an absolute blast to watch. For everybody who's tuned in late, please just wait for it to be uploaded to the YouTube. Again, it's just the Crown Cup YouTube channel. Great stuff over there. This was a blast for me. Is there anything else you want to add to this
Uh,
great evening of
I
Overwatch?
mean, stay tuned because the finals should be happening in the next week or so. And if this match, the semi final, was anything to go off, you do not want to miss it.
Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you for casting with me, Zeus. Thank you to our amazing team. Everybody doing a great job today. We'll have them all on the screen later on. And yeah, this was Crown Cup for today. See you soon.
Bye.